All right, today's video is going to be on Clint Emerson's Anatomy of a Violent Nomad. And so this comes from his book, 100 Deadly Skills. This is basically a rundown of the things that he would be carrying on his person in a mission. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through this kit. This is a build-off of several other videos that we've done. One in particular is his operations bag. So that is, in fact, the first thing on his list is his operations bag. So if you've noticed in that bag, it didn't have a lot of the regular stuff that you might think that an operative might carry, and that's because a lot of that stuff is going to be on his person. So if he was to lose his bag, he would still have plenty of tools layered across his body and hidden across. Now, if you've been following the blog or my Instagram for a while, you may have seen lots of different ways in which you can carry covert tools that we have suggested. So I definitely suggest you to check out the Instagram account and the blog account. We have a multiple part series on escape and evasion kits, which goes through in detail a lot of the ways in which you can hide and kind of layer some of the stuff, the tools that you would have in your on you. So aside from the operations bag, the first thing here, and this is very common for many world travelers, is to have some kind of high quality watch. I don't have a $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000 watch, but this is a good representation of that. Why would you want a watch? Well, a watch holds as collateral, essentially. It used to be a pretty common thing that men wore watches all the time. Nowadays, that collateral could be something different. It could be gold, it could be bits of silver if you wanted, it could be jewels, it could be, which were harder to verify, so gold probably would be standard. It could be cash itself, it could be the newest, latest, and greatest iPhone, so whatever you want to think about carrying that kind of collateral. So a lot of times, if you needed to get on a plane to get out of a country, you could trade a watch for a car, you could trade a watch for plane tickets, whatever it is, and get home safely. So aside from that, just have the operational purposes of a watch is really important too. So that can't be understated. So next up then from there, he has razor blades. We've talked a lot about razor blades in other videos. So one of the most common, cheapest, easiest kind of counter custody devices you can pick up. You can spend $100 on an escape and evasion kit, but you're going to get what you get out of just a simple razor blades that you can pick up in country or on the go, and you can layer these wherever you need to. We'll talk about that in a essentially, these razor blades, he suggests put one in your waistband, for example. It could go in your strap of your backpack. It could go in the sole of your boot or shoe, in the tongue of your shoe, wherever. There's many places where you can hide and layer these. So super handy to have, I would think. Costs nothing, weighs nothing, and it's one of those things, if you never need it, it's not going to get in the way. Next up then is he does carry a SIG, so he carries a firearm on his hip. So with that would be holster, then too, if that's implied. And then handcuff key, he has keep hidden. One of the best handcuff keys, I think, is these Tack handcuff keys. These are absolutely wonderful. They're breakdown. You can hide them in the hem of your clothing, on key rings, pretty much in shirts, in your pants, zipper pulls, everywhere. So I really like these guys. They're fantastic in that regard. And then next up here is a knife in your pocket. So just a common, locking blade knife, I think would be handy to have, just of decent quality. And then he does have a second backup pistol. It's just a backup pistol here, so it's going to be a subcompact of some kind. I carried this on my ankle. He suggests to do it in your crotch wearing thunderwear. I have tried with this holster and this firearm, wore this in a non-permissive environment where guns were not allowed, in a deep concealment, basically clipping this onto a piece of 550 cord lowered it down below my belt line, and was able to carry this firearm very comfortably for a long period of time. Now, you don't have access to this very quickly, obviously, but it's deeply concealed and not in a place where a lot of people might think a firearm could be held. So some food for thought. It was a pretty creative, a good idea. One of the things you'll notice about the kits from Clint Emerson and these video series that we're doing, specifically with Clint, is how creative he is. And we'll talk a lot about that in future days, but he has a lot of good suggestions in that regard. So next up here, aside from the deep concealed pistol here, is the micro compass. There are a lot of different micro compasses on the market. This one's not the smallest, but it is a pretty accurate compass. It's the Sun 2 clipper. It can clip onto your watch, on a pack, many different things, and it's still concealable if you need to keep it concealable. I've used this in urban context quite a bit when I need to get my bearings. This is a good kind of all-around compass. And if you're curious about the usage of this compass, we have a whole land navigation series where we do talk specifically about the usage of that compass. So you can check that out. Handcuff keys in the hem of your trousers. He has other types of handcuff keys. So aside from, you can get the standard handcuff key. You can get these metal ones. You can also get plastic ones. Be careful that these do break, but they don't set off magnetometers. And they're shaped like a button. This one's broken in half already. You can see my previous posts on what that looks like, but you can sew them into your clothing. So it looks like an extra button. So multiple handcuff keys, multiple razor blades. I think he's got himself pretty much covered. And the idea is you don't just want one of anything that's for counter custody, because if someone finds one thing, the chances are they might not find the other thing, or that might inspire them to search a little bit deeper. So you have to run that risk. And also, you don't know how your hands are going to be bound or how your body is going to be. So you want to have tools spread around your body so that you can access them if you're put into a trunk, if you're in the back of a car, if you're on a chair, if your hands are tied in front of you, or handcuffed in the front or handcuffed in the back, zip tied, whatever. Having multiple tools in multiple different locations gives you options. So razor blade in the tongue of a shoe is what he had said then, if I didn't say that already. And then he does suggest Kevlar laces, which I think is fine if you want to go with that. The shoes that I have, I really can't do Kevlar laces in. But you can do Kevlar line, and you could put that certainly around your waist. No one would ever feel it. You could put it in your shoe. You could put it, you could stack this in the shoe so that you could pull it out very quickly. But Kevlar is great as a friction saw and many other uses. Strong high tensile fishing line if you needed it, but making all sorts of different kind of stuff. There's a lot of uses for this. So that's certainly something to think about. And then the last thing that he has is a cloth escape map that you'd put into the insoles of your shoe. I think that's an awesome idea. From an urban context, again, you could probably just go to your phone book, cut out a local map in your phone book, laminate that, and you have a pretty good escape map in the sole of your shoe for the town that you live in. I don't know. There are places nowadays where you can send maps out or send files to people, and they can print them on cloth and silk. That does exist, and if I can, I'll put that link in the description below. So today, this was Clint Emerson's Anatomy of a Violent Nomad, and we might even do a follow-up where I'll wear this and we can go through it there on my persons. So, all right. Thanks again. Remember to like and subscribe.